pain, but I can't let you hurt me ever again. What I gotta do to be loved? What I gotta do to see love? A battle I'm sure to lose. Chest wide open from the exit wounds, and you pull the trigger. But if I say what you want me to say.
The primary purpose of the CAF podcast is to express forum for creatives to express their personal views or opinions without restriction or censorship. All views or opinions expressed during the CAF podcast are solely those of individuals expressing such views or opinions and does not reflect the views of the CAF podcast.
Our podcast, we back. This will be the 99th episode of the CAF podcast, one short of 100. A big season for us because we are celebrating 100 and we will be talking about it. But to get to the 100, you got to go through the 99. So we got a special guest, and I mean special because this is somebody that, well, let me say that this is a group that I want to get in. I don't know about you, Janice, your profession. I didn't get all that information, but we was looking for a female Black coach, but we got one. So hold on, I keep my notes. What I did with my notes. Where my note? Oh, here we go. Okay, so who we got on with us today? She's originally from Florida. She played volleyball at Georgia Southern. And this one is quite interesting because if you look at her, you couldn't tell that she was on her 22nd year of coaching, which that is kind of amazing. And she's also a business owner. So we want to welcome to the CAF, Coach Amber.
That's Janice. That's Janice.
Janice? Oh,
yeah.
I thought, okay, excuse me, let me rewind her. Her 22nd year of coaching. We want to welcome to the CAF podcast, Coach Janice.
What's up?
How you doing? So I didn't get your information.
No, you got both. I sent you mine, and then I copied and pasted Janice right after.
Okay, so give me yours.
Hold on, I can't even find what I sent you.
Because I'm thinking this is you. I didn't know this was.
No, that's Janice.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Hold on, because I sent you Janice's picture.
Right.
And then I sent you several from mine. But I said mine was I'm from East Texas, played college volleyball at the University of Florida, where I received my bachelor's and master's degrees. I've been coaching college volleyball for 12 years. So I'm the message above,
Oscar.
Janice Pressley.
Moving fast. So sorry about all that. But ladies, welcome to the CAF.
Thanks for having us.
No, this is big for us because we got everything, well, except for the female police officer, Black female police officer. But we kind of accomplished everybody who we wanted to talk to in their profession. And this one was on the top of, well, I'm gonna say it was top 3. So this was kind of big for us. So we want to we really appreciate y'all getting on, helping us with this season. So I got a lot to talk about. I always tell people I do my research. So I got some questions for y'all.
Okay.
So, but first, before we get started, the first question that we ask everybody in the CAF, we didn't come up with this question. We stole this from Charlemagne the God. How is your mental health?
You want me to start? Okay. Mine is okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. I still struggle sometimes daily from the passing of my mother. So sometimes I have great days. Sometimes I have terrible days. Sometimes I'm not sure what my triggers are. Some triggers I know, some triggers I don't. So I could be having a perfectly fine day and then I'll smell something, I'll hear something, I'll see something. I'll see a Black woman that maybe could look like my mom or could be, something like that. And then I have a not so good day. So it just depends. Some days I cry my way to wherever I'm going and then I wipe my face and then I go out and put my best foot forward. And some days I don't. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Amber?
I would say I'm in a pretty good place right now. I definitely say better. And I say better because I'm someone that's always been typically glass half full, always kind of just good. And then the person that other people can come to kind of when they're kind of struggling. But this past year, I would say that just pressures of coaching and kind of some of the stresses of coaching probably got to me a lot more in my 12th season than it ever has. And I found myself unable to really fully shake it. Sometimes how I could bounce back is I wasn't able to bounce back as fast as I had been. So I actually took up therapy, made the step. It was something that I'd said I wanted to do for a long time and had talked about doing. And I was able to find a therapist, connect with her, and I've been with her the past 3 or 4 months, and that's been amazing. So I'm definitely, though it doesn't feel like, we're getting into all the nitty gritty of things in our sessions. Sometimes we're just talking. I could definitely say I'm in a different place now than I was a few months ago.
Okay. And the reason why we asked that question is because some people thought we were just trying to be, like go along with the flow, have this great question to ask. Mm-hmm. But during the pandemic, it was, I once again, I didn't see white, I didn't see Mexican, I didn't see Asian. I saw a lot of Black women commit suicide. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we asked that question, like, we really don't know where you at because, and I hope I don't sound like a pig, but these are some beautiful Black women committing suicide. So it's a question that we ask because we wanted to really know what's going on where you got these beautiful Black women just taking their life for no reason. So that's the reason why we asked that question. Now, our second question that we asked, because once again, the pandemic and Twitter, it was the first time I really had a chance to sit down and really, we weren't doing that. So I was on Twitter a lot. Mm-hmm. And once again, I didn't see white women, Asian women, or Mexican women. I only saw Black women getting attacked. And if it wasn't for one lady and her dog in the ring camp, who knows what that dude would have got to her. So the second question we asked, ladies, do you have a gun and do you have a gun license? Mm. Now, if you can't answer that question on camera, just give me the head shake and we're good to go.
We good.
Yeah, we good. I do not right now. I kind of laugh because it is something that my parents have been begging me to get.
I'm gonna be on your head now. So I'm gonna be on your head now too, because I am serious about y'all getting some type of protection because I'm just seeing too many Black women getting attacked. That's basically to the point I'm at. But as you were.
Yes, I was just gonna say it is on the to-do list, just with up there with, I had to get my therapist and all of that. One of the other things I've been saying I was gonna do for a while is to go through the concealed handgun carrying class and all of that and get that done. At some point, that's gonna make it in the schedule sometime soon. So
that's sometime nothing. I'm gonna be on your head until I hear, hey, I got it. Leave me alone.
Sounds good.
Okay, so because and I always tell women, if you don't want to carry the gun, my sister, she has a license, but I gave her my taser. So and not that baby taser either. I'm talking about 5,000 watts, like you working at a club taser. Ooh. Yeah, it ain't no game out here no more. So if you don't want the gun, at least get you a taser. Okay. So
I understand.
What up, TJ?
Yo, what's up, baby? How y'all feeling tonight?
Good.
Now, I got the memo, and I said there's certain stuff we can't talk about. So we got tonight conversation, and we usually tell people about, we got relationship question and we got nasty question. Now, I got told we're not going that far. So you know what that means? We're not doing the nasty question, but what I do got for y'all are some romantic questions.
Okay.
So y'all, I'm giving y'all 3 romantic questions, and y'all gonna do 4 relationship questions. So the nasty department out the door. You ain't even gonna go down that road. So let me get your 4 questions ready. And as I do this season we're talking about Black women. So I gotta ask each one of y'all, and I'm gonna switch it because I usually ask what is the state of Black women in your own opinion, but I'm gonna ask y'all what is the state of Black female coaches in the year 2023.
We both said, when I think of that question first, I think it's an exciting state. Honestly, I think we are seeing Black women and Black women in the coaching field, one, have some opportunities that previously were not afforded to us. We're definitely growing. I know in our sport, volleyball is not a demographic that has a lot of people of color, and that is something that has changed tremendously. I know since Janice and I were playing in our years where I know I was one of one, Black girls on the team, or maybe one of two. Whereas now you see full teams sometimes at tournaments, of young Black females playing the sport. So I think with that, there needs to be continued representation, which is why it's so great to see more Black coaches and more Black women getting into sport at all different levels, college, high school, club. So I think it's exciting times for volleyball. And then when you look at basketball, and Black women just taking over the world, in college basketball, and the Don Staleys and Coach Yo over at Ole Miss. I mean, they are doing some phenomenal things. So I think it's an exciting time. And you're seeing a lot of Black women being, compensated for the work that they're putting in, and just being able to be on the national stage in some areas that you previously hadn't seen before.
Coach Janice?
I agree. She nailed it right on the head. Representation matters for sure. And especially I get a chance to have hands-on contact with a lot of those younger athletes before they get to someone like her. And for them to be able to see someone that looks like them, that is tall like them, that can talk like them, that can be versatile like them, and to see them in a place of, I don't want to say power, but to see them in a place of leadership is really, really important. And it's important for other female Black coaches that we see in terms of colleagues, just the encouragement of each other, and the, rooting for one another, not kind of holding each other back in terms of what we know, the wealth of knowledge that we have. We just want to see other Black women do well and support each other in that, in whatever way possible that we can do it.
Amber, I got to admit, I've probably seen you before because, once again, I'm in Florida, so on Sundays on the Sunshine Network, they play the replay of volleyball, and if in this state that the volleyball replays win the hardest. So I went back and I had a video, but it didn't make it.
Oh man,
because I was going to play this because I'm like, if she played for Florida, I watched her every Sunday morning before I went to church.
It was a long time ago. You got to go way back in the videos.
I did. Now I ain't trying to age you, but if I can correct, you was there. You was there when you was at Florida.
03 to 07.
Yeah, I was still in high school.
Got
yeah. So yeah. I don't mean to age you, but I mean, okay.
I was gone.
As you were. Okay. So as a female Black coach and you're coaching, what are some of the situations or problems that you got first started when you got into your careers?
I'll start with that if that's okay, Jay. I would say one of the things that I had a long time assistant who was with me for 10 years. She just recently took another position at Georgetown, but when we were at our junior college together, which is where I started, no one ever walked up and thought I was the head coach. We would be sitting there on the sideline. Usually the refs walk up and they hand the lineup to the head coach to fill out the lineup before the game. And it was so often that they would hand it to her, if she was a young white female. And very rarely, only if it was refs that we already knew or people that I already had a prior relationship with and they knew me and knew I was the coach, would they come to me first. And she was actually, I kind of peeped it a long time ago, but never said anything about it. And she actually one day, I'll never forget it, just hit her. She was like, why do they always come to me? Or they always come to me first? And I was like, yeah, you see that. You see why. So it was, I think that's something that was always kind of the case of never being expected to be in the position of authority. Same thing happened when we came here to Tech. It was me, her, and our first year, the second assistant was a white guy, an older white guy. And you could see the hierarchy because now they didn't go to her, they went to him. and they would go give the lineup to him. Or if we were in a restaurant and they brought the bill, they would go take it to him, and he would be like, Ashley, that's our head coach over there. So I think that's kind of one of those things of just those, when you talk about microaggressions and talk about ways that people just don't see Black women in positions of power very often or at the head position. That was something that I learned very on in my career, was a real thing that happens quite often. And, you know, now I just kind of brush it off, but it's amazing how frequent it does happen to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. Like it's again, I'm gonna say it all day long. Representation matters to these kids. And no matter which way that we can turn it, it's just we need to see more women of color in a lot of these different kinds of positions and at different levels, at all levels, from the very beginning all the way to the top of the top.
So when you out recruiting, is it kind of hard, or let me say this, is it more easy when you walk up to a future recruiting like, hey, I'm head coach McCray or I'm head coach Pressley? Is it like an eye opener for them, or just like, okay?
I think they can, right now, we're not allowed, like NCAA rules don't allow us to really just walk up to the recruits like that while we are actually out at the events. But I will say, one of the things, you know, you could walk and see people's eyes get big when they're like, oh, that's the coach at, you know, such and such or whatever, because they didn't used to see it very often. But now it's so, I don't want to say so many of us, but it's so many more than it used to be. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as much of an eye opener to people as it used to be. Whereas they do see so many of us walking around now, they can see themselves in us. And I do think the pandemic and all the events of 2020 definitely made kids a lot more mindful about programs that they go to and going somewhere that they can be celebrated and not tolerated. And that's where you've seen a huge push for the HBCUs, or you've seen a push for players actually vocalizing that they want to go to places where they can see people on staff who look like them, whereas that didn't used to always be the case or be a big factor. I definitely think it is a factor we're seeing a lot more now. So it helps, I think, in some ways, for sure, and to have a diverse staff. But you also want to be mindful, I think, young Black coaches, of not being just the token Black coach on staff, not being somebody that these head coaches or other coaches can use as like, oh yeah, we got this Black coach to bring in these Black players, and you're kind of just using them for that instead of really allowing them to do all they can and, you know, show what they can be for the program. So I think it's brought some good things in that way, but it's also brought some things that you have to be mindful of as a young Black coach or a Black coach in this profession.
For sure. I was used in a situation where I was the token, and it used to bother me at first. And then I spend it mentally for my own good, where I'm like, this is an opportunity for me to reach more and more people that do look like me. Mm-hmm. And if they feel like they have a direct connection with someone that looks like them, then the more the merrier, then the more that they will want to be a part of what we or I am doing. And then those people know people that don't look like us. And then that exposes them to more and more people to be a part of what we're doing or what I'm doing at the time. So it's a way to use it for a positive thing as well.
I meant to say that if you ever see me look to the right, it's not that I'm not paying attention. I'm just making sure everything going good with the Zoom. So I'm going to throw that out there. So let me do this real quick, because I want to get y'all opinion on this, because it just seemed like everybody was up in awe about a certain coach and how she used to dress on the sideline. And I tell people, you know, Coach Sydney Carter, I say, if you go to any women's HBCU basketball game, you're going to see that every game. Every game you're going to see. I mean, I don't know what our coaches dress like that. I can't speak for, you know, Tech or who y'all play in y'all division, or even you, Coach Pressley. But if you go to any HBCU game, you're going to see a Black woman dress. So why is all of a sudden this is a big uproar? Or is just something they just never seen, a Black woman who can actually dress?
They want to put her in a box. You can't put her in a box.
Mhm.
She is just as professional. She's her own individual. She's still representing well with the picture that you have up. She's fully covered from head to toe. Especially, you know, some women, especially Black women, your bodies are your bodies. And it's kind of like no matter what you're going to put on, some things are going to be still accentuated. But in my opinion, she still is very tasteful. Is fashionable, which is a part of her individuality, but she's still a complete functioning professional in this photo, who's fully capable and probably did her job very well.
Absolutely.
So you can't put her in a box to say, oh, well, she doesn't have on khakis or I don't know, slacks or whatever. Okay, well, she's probably really, really tall. So it may be difficult for her to find pants that are long enough, right? But these tapered pants at the ankle are just fine. So.
Absolutely. Agreed with Janice. I think it's just another way to take away from what really matters. When people always get to talking about stuff like this, you know, you're not talking about what a great coach she is or recruiter she is or any of the things that she brings to the table for her actual job. It's just another way to kind of degrade Black women, essentially. But I think you see it, you know, with a lot of different, with women in general or players in general. We could go all day long on all the discrepancies you see in whether women to men or Black women to Black or to white student athletes, even in like the Angel Reese situation and all of that across the board. I think we are just expected to be in this box, like Janice said, and to have to, you know, the moment you try to step out of it, then it's, oh, she's cocky, she's arrogant, she's, you know, she's unprofessional, whether it's what we wear or the way we do our hair.
She's flashy.
Yeah, flashy, you know, just flamboyant, all of these different terms, I think that it's no coincidence of when they're being used and who they're being used to describe.
All right, ladies, going to our questions. So first question is a romantic question. So we get these out of the way. What is the most romantic thing somebody has ever done for you?
So you have to take that first.
I'm thinking hard.
Hey, y'all got to think that hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is the problem.
Exactly.
I had a gentleman set up a really, really nice spa day for me. So that was romantic to me. That was something that I enjoyed. So I had a full spa day with a personal masseuse that came to my home. I had dinner prepared for me, and then we had a nice evening.
Like how you kept that professional. A nice evening.
No. Well, I see how you got that.
Nice
It was just a nice, relaxing.
Nice evening.
I got
That's the code word. Gotcha. Nice.
That
evening.
was not a code word.
Nice evening. Coach Amber.
That was very sweet. I don't like how far back I have to go to my.
I didn't say what year it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta go too far back. I would say for my birthday, an ex-boyfriend set up a big a bed and breakfast night at a dinner where we had a candlelight dinner, and it was just us, and it was all fancy in the dining room, and then got to stay the night in the bed and breakfast and all of that, and did the whole roses thing. And then every month he sent, for like 1 month, had a dozen roses, 2 months, 2 dozen roses. And he did that all the way up to, I don't know, 5 or 6, I think it stopped. But that was probably the sweetest thing in that. But for me, I'm so big on the little things. Like if there is a little act of service that you do that makes my life just a little bit easier, so I don't have to do it or have to think about it. Those are what stand out and kind of tend to mean the most to me.
So Amber, it sounds like your love language is acts of service.
It is.
Okay. Janice, what's your love language?
Quality time and acts of service tie.
Top 2. Okay. That makes sense then, that you guys would enjoy someone setting up something for you in those manners. So it makes sense.
And that's changed over time. I don't know about you, Janice, but like in college, when I first heard about love languages and all of that, I probably would have said words of affirmation was a big one for me. And it's not that words don't matter, but I just over time have really decided actions speak a lot louder. And a lot of people can say a lot of pretty words and different things, but at the end of the day, what are you actually showing me is what's going to have the most impact. So over time, it shifted to the acts of service, especially being so busy in our professions. I think is, being someone who is really mindful and doing those little things to help us out is really big. And then as I've gotten older too, randomly touch that used to be way at the bottom is up there. And that's not even in, a lot of times people hear touch and they automatically go to, a different kind of, and all of that. But I think just in general, like forehead kisses, a hand on the shoulder, like rubbing my back or whatever, when it's been a long day, all of those things are just really big on showing, I think, care and genuine affection to somebody.
Going to a relationship question. What is one thing that you think that Black men and Black women in relationship has lost and would love to see it come back?
Repeat that question for me.
What is one thing that you think that have lost in relationship dealing with Black men and Black women? Excuse me. What is the one thing that have been lost with Black men and Black women in relationship that you would love to see come back?
Patience and communication. I think those go kind of hand in hand. I think, and I don't want to go too deep, but when we talk about like our grandparents and our parents even, and how, they stuck together is what the main thing is like, oh, they stuck together. They had patience on both ends. They had a little bit more wiggle room, so to speak. And I think they communicated a little bit more. Whereas nowadays, everyone is at the first sign or the first two signs of trouble, somebody gone and they like, oh, I ain't talking to so-and-so no more. I'm cutting them off and this and that. And it's like, you really could have probably missed out on something great if you just communicate. If you just had a little bit more patience to really try to understand or be more understanding or give grace to the other person, because again, two individuals are putting their lives together. So this person is going through this or thinking about this or this happened as well as the other person. And you're not always privy to that information when people do go through things. So, that could affect their behavior. That could affect whether they, shut down. And so, doing a little bit of research to having enough patience to understand what the person is going through. And giving them grace on that, and then coming back together and, staying in a relationship. So I think those two things kind of go hand in hand.
So Janice, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think our grandparents and the people of their generation stayed together because they wanted to stay together or they had to? Like they didn't have it? Both?
Mm-hmm. I think both. I think they stayed together because they had to, because usually one person was the breadwinner and the other person was the homemaker. But people failed to also add into that equation. It was probably also 1986 where no shade to anybody that's that young, but but you can survive off of one income back then. You can't do that. Well, you can, but for the most part, you really can't do that as much as people want to in today's age and life and how you live. So, it's a lot of things that are played into those factors back then as to why they did that. But I think they also had less distraction. I think they also had less, not options, because I think women are always there or men are always there, but they wanted to stay with that person and they put a whole lot more value on family and family life. So they stay together so that they can have a sense of family. Whereas now it's like people, you can create your own family, you can create your own circle, you can create those things and let that be your village.
Right.
Versus when our grandparents or our parents were doing it, where, they did it the traditional way of mom, dad, family, and kids and our household. And that's what it is. but not as much today. You have lots of successful households that look many different ways.
Yeah. I 100% agree with everything Janice just said. I think adding to that, two things. One, I was going to say just the desire to even have family. And to have the whole, whether it's, marriage, you talk to so many people, Black men and women nowadays, who literally don't aspire to be married. They don't aspire to have that at all. They'll say from the jump, I just want to have a life partner, or some of them don't want kids or whatever it may be, or they already have the kids. So there's no desire to have the actual familial, family unit together. And I think that's something that's created. It's not saying that there can't be a lot of success stories coming from single parent homes or broken homes, because we've obviously seen it for a long time, but I do think it has made it so much harder to be able to, have that kind of foundation that we want our young kids to have or whatever, when they're having to deal with so much drama within the home. So I think that's one thing. And then I was going to say just the ability, I'd say trust, but more so even just the ability to be vulnerable with each other. I think everybody is so, I don't want to look like a fool, so I'm not gonna
look like a simp. They want to be a simp.
What'd you say, Janice?
A simp. They say I don't want to be a simp.
Like the men don't want to look like they're a simp, and so they don't want to show, some of them, not gonna say all, they think it's lame or corny to show their affection. I mean, look how much freaking Russell Wilson gets clowned, for how much he just dotes on Sierra and her kids, and how many people call him corny and lame for that. So I think, being able to feel safe enough and feel like, hey, I can show my love to this woman or this man, and I could lay it all out there, and I could go 100% dive into this relationship without having to worry about, is she going to hurt me? Is he going to hurt me? Or what's going to happen? I think our inability to feel safe with each other and feel vulnerable with one another has greatly hindered us in relationships now.
Season 5 Cal Podcast, we got Coach Amber here and Coach Janice. Do y'all go by y'all first name or y'all last name? Let me get this straight. So I want no future recruit come to, hey, Coach Amber. Nah, it's Coach McCray.
That's it. They recruits call me Coach McCray. It's kind of in camps, I'm Coach Amber, but on my team, they're typically Coach McCray.
Coach McCray. And then you
Coach Janice.
Coach Janice, okay.
Yeah.
So, Coach Janice, I'm coming to you. 22 years.
Yeah.
22 years.
Yeah.
Of coaching. That's 22 years of, and it's volleyball, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, from August, I want to say up to November, 22 years of you on bus rides, hotel. Well, no, you high school or college?
Right now, I have my own volleyball business where I coach kids ages like 5 all the way to college-bound student athletes.
So a lot of AAU tournaments.
Correct. Now, previously, I coached at a college for a few years. I coached high school volleyball as well, but I've always coached AAU volleyball, which is how I got started. So I was 18 years old coaching my own, like by myself. Like they threw me to the wolves. And so I was 18 years old, fully in control of a group of 16-year-olds, which is how I got started.
Okay. And then now you're 26. Got it. So that's 22 years. What are some of the ups and downs have you seen in the last, I'm gonna just say last 5 years, when it comes to dealing with recruits, getting them ready, just in general?
That can go in so many directions.
Take me down one direction.
One is competitiveness. One that sticks out to me is competitiveness. I'll speak to my mother. For ever since I was a young kid, I can always remember being competitive. So our mom, it didn't matter how old we were as kids. If we played checkers, she was going to beat us at checkers. If we were on the bikes, like I'm going to beat you with my bike, and we're walking to the same door and I look at you and you look at me, and then we start walking faster and faster, I'm going to beat you to the door. So it was competition everywhere around me. Right. And so today's kids, they're so, how can I be nice? I call them the cotton ball generation because they soft. They're so soft.
Like that. I like that term.
They are the cotton ball
generation.
generation. They're soft, and anything that you say is it hurts their feelings, and you have to really think about your tone, which you should always be conscious of your tone, but nonetheless, they aren't as competitive as I would like for them to be going to the next level. Everybody says they want to be an elite athlete, they want to go to this level, they want to do this, but these are the people that are competing at those levels. But now you start to see a little bit of change where talent wise they're elite, but emotionally, mentally, they're not as strong as they can be. But because no one, you can only challenge and push them so far, they don't know that they have that little piece to tap into to be like, hey, I can do this, or I can be this competitive. Because if all four of us was in the same room and we started playing Uno right now, like somebody break out the Uno card, somebody break out the spades, one of us gonna pop it and talk trash, right? And then we're all gonna be like, okay, y'all, what do you want to do? What do you want to go eat? Or, whatever. And then it's over for us. So kids nowadays, they don't really have that really competitive, I call it a dog. They don't have they don't, it's not that many dogs. So, and a dog is somebody that like, you're gonna have a little grit, a little grind. It's either me or it's you, and it ain't gonna be me.
Well, let me ask. Hold on, Coach McCray Falcon. Let me ask you this question, because I have heard, and I've literally heard this because I used to work in women's basketball, and I heard a coach said, "Why do we have to be described?" And she literally, it wasn't dog, but it was like something like, what did she say? She said, why do we have to say she got to be like LeBron or Kobe? Why can't she be like Cynthia Cooper or Cheryl Swoops? And at the time, I'm like, well, because I don't think most of these young women even know who these players are, but they know who LeBron and Mike is. But it was just me and her just had this back and forth argument. Like, she was like, we got to stop doing it. I'm like, I mean, if you ask most female, let me say most female basketball players, I want to say recently, they'll probably say, yeah, I'm the Kobe, I'm the LeBron, I'm this. I don't think they got to the point where they're naming women in the WNBA.
Well, see, back that was what, about 10 years ago, maybe, Florida?
2013.
Right. So to that point, like 2013, the league, the WNBA had only been in existence 12, 15 years at the time, not even. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, like they probably didn't know a lot of the professional basketball players. Like, even though there were professional women going to the Olympics in basketball, they just wasn't household names like that. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays that women are more household names, especially now with the collegiate women like Angel Reese and all those people. Like, maybe they will look up to more women now playing.
Well, I'm talking about more of the reference of being, like she said, a dog. Like, if like before Angel Reese, who was that female where you could point to say, be that dog?
I think it depends on who you're talking to for them to know. I think it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to like a lot of older kids may know who a Cynthia is. Right. They may know who a Dawn Staley is. They may know who, maybe even a Diana Taurasi. They may even know Sue Bird. They may know them, but that's not, you don't hear people talking about Sue Bird every day in an everyday household type name as you would a Kobe, a Bron, a Michael Jordan. Those women didn't have major endorsement deals how some of these other athletes have. They didn't have the same opportunity to have the exposure for people to know who they are. So I think as a coach, you have to say something that's relatable to the kids, for them to immediately know, oh, okay, I have to emulate this type of persona for them to know what you're talking about. So you have to, Tiger Woods, I could say, hey, go out there and be a Tiger. Tiger was a fierce competitor. We can talk up and down about how great of a competitor Tiger is. So you could say Tiger as well, but that's, some people say like, what, who's Tiger?
But it's also the job as a coach to educate these young people that don't know about these women who were actually dogs on the court. Like, hey, listen, I know you know Michael Jordan, that's great, but being that you're in a woman's sport, let me show you about these women that were great on the court as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something, one, it's going to be interesting to see, to be able to answer that question in a few years with NIL and the women's sports viewership growing and all these records being broken that we've seen over this past year, where people do know who those star players in the college game are. Like, they have more notoriety in some ways than the WNBA players do right now. And you've heard them even talk about, I'm going to stay in college for a few more years because I can make more money right here than I can if I go to the league. So it's going to be interesting to see, if kids do start aspiring to be more like the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses and all of them and the Flajays. And I think one of the other changes you've seen in terms of why they haven't described them as dogs is you used to see if a female acted like that, and you still do see it to this day, we couldn't act like that. We couldn't be super competitive and be passionate. Whereas a man, if they're throwing a chair or they're yelling or they're ripping a teammate, it's, oh, he's passionate. Oh, he's, he really cares and all that. And a woman is emotional. And you saw that with Serena. And when they would talk about her, and it was always described as Serena's having a meltdown and she's throwing a tantrum and this and that, where you had male tennis players do the exact same thing times 10,
way worse.
And they way worse, and they never got caught. It was just, oh, look how much he cares. Look how much of a competitor he is. So I think that discrepancy has been there for years, but this is the first time you've really seen it on the level of, one, more people point it out and say that we see us there and it's not right. And then two, more people like, no, we should allow women to be that competitive because we work just as hard. It may look on a different scale in terms of athleticism or whatever sometimes, but you can't expect women who train just as many hours and work just as hard and spend as many years grinding in their sport. You can't tell them they need to tone it down when it comes to how much they show their passion and how much they care. That's just not right.
Now, coming to you, Coach McCray, there is a stigma out there about the angry Black woman.
Oh, absolutely.
When you in the middle of a game, something go wrong and you go off, and then they say, "Oh no, look, she is the angry Black woman." How does, as a Black female coach, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, sadly, it's something I always have to be mindful of. And I always have to try to keep in check and have to make sure I'm presenting myself in a way that won't allow them to have that stereotype or won't be that reflection. And I've seen it. I've seen it, in teams we played against, coaches we played against, especially when I was at my junior college, where I watched the coach throw tantrums and curse out the refs and do all these things. And I would frequently say, I know I never could do that. There was no way that I would be able to act that way and be able to do that. And you see that sometimes, on the women's basketball game. I don't know if a Dawn Staley could act like a Kim Mulkey on the sideline, there's different things, and they're two GOATs of the game right now. But I think it's just, those are things that we always have to be mindful of our tone. And it's the same thing, especially in our game. We coach a women's sport, but you see it's so male dominated right now, especially at the college level. And you have a lot of young females that can't really, or they don't really know how to play for a strong female voice or strong women without feeling like if that woman is getting on to them, that they're being a B word, they're being why are you getting on to me like that? You're supposed to be nurturing, you're supposed to be my mom or whatever. And it really does kind of handicap us sometimes as women coaches and being able to build up and bring out what we need to get out of these young women and challenge them in the way we do, because we have to be mindful of if they're going to see us as a coach figure who's allowed to do that, or if they're going to see us as you're supposed to be my mom and you're supposed to coddle me and nurture me and you're not, so I don't respect you. So there's all kinds of roadblocks that we face, I think, both as women and as Black women on top of that we constantly have to be mindful of and try to find ways to work around and try to find ways to get the best you can out of your players while still kind of jumping through those hoops sometimes.
Two things. One, you can really tell you from Texas. I hear it so loud.
Really?
Yes. And two, you are killing my questions because I was going to talk about the NIL, which we still going to get to. And then you also talk about being mothering in nature, but we're going to wait till that down the line. So, but but that Texas, yeah, I hear that loud as hell.
People always told me that when I went to school, talked about how country I was. And I feel like I'm not, but I got you.
I mean, like people always thought I was from Atlanta. I'm like, nah.
You don't speak like you from Atlanta.
It's just the way you accentuate certain parts of the words and things like that. You can tell you got that Texas flavor.
Yeah.
Like me, like I know I'm country, but it's certain words I say, like, yeah, you from Louisiana.
You say you from the South.
Yeah.
So, but there's a little things you pick on living in North Louisiana and moving around that Texas area, Mississippi, Alabama. Like, yeah, I can tell where you're from and I can tell where you're not from.
So where are you from?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville, Florida.
That's where y'all from the same.
Should I do it?
Yeah, go ahead. You already know.
Hey.
Hey, we in there. Guess who from Jacksonville, Florida?
Come on, Janice, you better not play with me. Janice, you better not play with me, Coach.
I'm gonna send you my phone number, that 904 on there, baby.
Coach, you better not play with me. You better not play with me.
See her?
Coach, we're going to a game this year. Coach, we are definitely going to a Jaguar game this year. Coach, we are this is great.
Man,
look at it,
man.
You know what, TJ, you gonna get a raise from the Cavs for this. Boy, something golden, boy. I tell you. Boy, look, I don't even know what to do the rest of this interview, man. What y'all want to talk about?
You want to
talk about these Jaguars? You want
cats, boy?
You want to talk about these Jaguars? Girl.
On my raise, baby.
Oh, I scared my dog.
Oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Give him some kibbles and bits. He'll be all right. But no, let me continue on. This is finna get real good. Okay, let me get back to my questions. So you really just threw me off. Okay, now let me go back to this. Let me go to this one real quick. What up, Perk?
What up with it?
Coach McCray, Coach Pressley. This is Perk, one of the co-hosts Cal podcast. Perk, Coach McCray, Coach Pressley. She's the head coach at Louisiana Tech, and Coach Pressley has her own volleyball camp where she run everything from Florida to California. That's me lying. I always lie up. I never lie down.
I'll take it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I heard something about the Jaguars, but that was okay.
It's all good. We could block you out. All right. Let me go to a romantic question, and then we'll get back. So, describe your ultimate day vacation? Ultimate day vacation. That's
day vacation.
Amber, go ahead.
Day vacation. Like
ultimate
day.
So you and your bae get 1 day to just go wherever, do whatever.
Ultimate day vacation.
Are they single? Why y'all asking them this question and they man might be right there?
We single. Well, single.
We single.
Dang, Janice got that big smile over there. She like
I'm laughing at how he asked the question, but I'm single. I mean, I'm real single. But
she said I'm real single.
I'm real single. I'm silly. I'm being silly too, but yes, we're single.
I'm trying to think of when my vacation is so hard to come by. I have to like plan. Usually, if we
what would you want?
What would you want? Your ultimate day, if you was just said like if Boo came to you and say, look, we're doing a day vacation, April such and such. We're doing what you want to do. What we doing?
It's so hard. I
could go back to the next question.
I think a pampering. I like the spa day Janice talked about a little while ago. I think just the pampering day or just whatever, honestly, if we're spending it together. Whether that's it kind of depends on the mood I'm in, but whether that's a more just pampering day, go to a spa, go to dinner, kind of all of that kind of stuff, or if it's we're taking a trip randomly out to like an amusement park or something. It would really just depend on what we are doing or what mood I'm in. But I think as long as I'm with him, I would be pretty happy.
Okay. We'll wait for Janice to come back, but we'll keep it moving. Oh, there she go. Never mind.
There she go.
Coach?
I'm sorry, what I missed. Yes.
Your day vacation.
Ultimate day vacation.
Let me see.
She went to write it down.
Huh?
She put her camera off so she could write it down.
No, I had to go mess with my dog. I really think it doesn't really, for me, like we were talking about earlier, my love language is quality time. So we can do whatever, but if I'm with him and it's something that we're both really enjoying and away from the stresses of what we do on an everyday basis, then I'm down. I'm cool. I'm cool with it. That could be on a beach. It could be at the house.
Y'all gotta be specific.
Very simple. But it really, I think, going to what Janice said, and just if you're with them, like last year, for instance, I went, it wasn't just a day, but we took a trip out to Eureka Springs in these luxury cabins out there on the lake. And, you know, it was no Wi-Fi, no service, pretty much disconnected from the world. But we got to just relax and go out on the deck, wake up, drink coffee, talk, go down to the lake, go paddle boating, go fishing, like really just a total disconnect from the world, couple days. And that was amazing, of just not having to have the pressures of, I got to be by my phone, I got to answer it. I actually had a legit excuse of I couldn't answer my phone because most of the time I was not getting calls or getting texts till way later anyway. So we weren't really doing a lot, so to speak, besides half the time just doing nothing. But it was so great for both of us, I think, in that situation, for what we needed at that time after a stressful year.
Now, as female black coaches, you're not just also a coach. You're also a mother, a therapist, sometimes become a trainer, and then sometimes you might even have to be a cook. So having all of those hats, how does that affect your day-to-day operation? Knowing that at any moment I could get a phone call and I got to go here, or if I get a phone call, I got to go do this. Like, how does that affect your day-to-day operations?
It's part of the job for me. You take it in stride. You know that that's something that you're going to have to handle and do at some point. So it's not it doesn't. That's something that's on the back burner in terms of in the back of my head. I know I'm going to have to, something happens at practice. Oh, coach, can you help me tape this? Sure. You're the trainer. Or coach, you see your player struggling. So you say, hey, like you asked in the beginning, everything okay? Is it something that you want to talk about right now? Do you want to talk about later? Because I can see that something is bothering you. So, you have to have that type of rapport with who you're working with too. So it's just a matter of, being there and understanding that it's just a part of the job. That's just one of the many hats that that you're going to have to wear.
Absolutely. I say it's definitely something, coming in that you signed up for. And again, I think as female coaches, we sign up for even more because we are expected to be that more understanding, more nurturing type that they may come to about some things that they may not come to their male coaches about. I've had to, have some conversation with players that I would have never had with my coach when I was in college, or never remotely thought to bring up to my coach or let her know. And players have come to me and it's really caught me off guard and shocked me. But then at the same time, it was like, I'm thankful that you feel close enough to me, or you feel comfortable enough that you would come to me about this situation so I could help you out of it before you go make a dumb decision that gets you in more trouble. So I think as part of it, we know we're on call. Janice knows I was just with her trying to have a little vacation, celebrating Final Four weekend, and got some phone calls late that I had to go deal with, and really kind of took my mind off of the festivities and what I was trying to enjoy for a little bit. But I think that's just part of it. You kind of know what you sign up for. At the same time, you do have to set boundaries. I think as a coach, sometimes with both players and parents, especially in this day and age, where there are some times that you have to say, hey, unless your child is in imminent danger, at this time, I can't keep getting these phone calls at 10, 11 o'clock at night or whatever it may be, when we could discuss it the next day during business hours. And that's just even kind of having something I've had to learn even in the past year or two, or just to help protect. We talk about mental health and self-care. I think if you don't set those boundaries, you could really find yourself going down a going down a path that would not be healthy or conducive for this profession at all.
I'm gonna ask this question, and I know we got. I know y'all deal with it, dealing with, especially with women, when you have young ladies who learn about their body when they figure out the time of the month. Also, you know, you might have some girls who are having unprotected sex, and then you might have a player that just might end up pregnant. So how do y'all handle that type of situation, or do y'all just take it as it comes?
Pretty much.
Yeah, we in the past, we haven't done it in the past year or two, but we always did a risky behavior. We do these life classes with our team, and they could be over a bunch of different things. We have one that's over, you know, how to change a flat tire and check your oil. It's like a car maintenance. So if they're ever stranded and dad's not there or whatever, they could do it themselves. We've had over job interviews and mock interviews. And then we've also had one over risky behavior. And we had a part 1 and part 2. Part 1 was more about alcohol, you know, drinking and driving, texting and driving, just things like that. Making sure that you're being smart when you're going to these parties, because we have college age kids. We know, you know, sometimes they'll act like we were born yesterday and we weren't. And we have to remind them that we were in college as well at one point. And we just want them to make good decisions and smart decisions when they're putting themselves, you know, in these situations that could potentially go left. So I think we have that. And then we had a presentation over risky behavior in terms of STDs and the consequences of unprotected sex, whether it was the STDs or, you know, pregnancy and unwanted pregnancy and all of that. And nowadays, you have to have that conversation, because obviously with everything going on in the country, it's not as easy. You know, they have to be really mindful of, if they are doing that and if they were to become pregnant, what that would look like for them, especially based on the location they're in. So I think all of those are definitely, we try to have a talk with our kids early on, kind of as a group, but then it becomes more on a case-by-case situation. And you just hope they feel comfortable enough to be able to come to you if they ever do find themselves in a situation like that.
Season 5, Cal Podcast. All right, going back to, let's go. I'm gonna just end it with the last romantic question, and we get that. Go ahead. What you got?
Hold on, I have a question. Because I too am a coach. I'm currently coaching high school basketball, but I coach collegiate basketball for 3 years as well. How do you all handle the stand coaches, meaning the people that's in the stands that always got something to say about your coaching methods, that at the games hollering like, oh, this person can't coach, or whatever the case? Like, how do y'all handle that noise?
Janice, you're going last because you stood up when he said it. So Coach McCray, you first.
You ready though?
Yeah, she was ready. No, Coach McCray, you first. This gonna probably be a seminar, but go ahead, Coach McCray.
No, we laughing because that's something that is so common right now. We have to deal with and across all levels. I hear it when I go to my nephew's little peewee games, and they're, you know, you have all these coaches in the stands saying different things. But I think there's a lot of different ways. You know, you didn't used to see it as much at the college level as you see it now, but it definitely has crept into our level too. We have at least the luxury of the kids aren't riding home with the parents after the game, because that's what you see a lot in the high school and middle school level. They may get what they get from their coaches, but then they could hear something on the way home and it just totally cuts their coach's legs out from under them. So there's that separation in college, but they still can talk to them, obviously. And if the parents travel to the game, they can hear from it there. But I think you just try to be as open with the parents as you can now, in terms of helping them understand. You know, we try to have an open door policy in terms of, if you have an issue with something we're doing or a decision being made, I ask that your child will come to us first and have a meeting first, and we can explain it to them. And if they're still not understanding, then we can set up a call with both of us, you know. But the parents, we try to remind them they're not in practice every day. They don't have job or the responsibility of having to see things from the whole standpoint, the whole picture of all 14, 16 players. All they're seeing it from is the view of one. And that is very different from the whole picture. But one thing I also just add, Dawn Staley does, and I think we're going to take it with our team next year, she actually has parent Zooms with her players, parents, and they're all together on the Zoom and they're at different parts of the year. And she kind of just gets them all on there and she tells them what to expect, kind of what's going on, gives them a chance to tell them, hey, if your child is more stressed during this time of year, it's because this is going on or whatever it may be, and just tries to provide that open line of communication where the parents can feel like they know a little more of the picture and they're not just getting it from whatever their disgruntled, child may have said from the coaches. But it's definitely something that I think is a problem at all levels, and something that just is only going to hinder the kid at the end of the day if they're being told to do 57 things by all these different voices. As a coach, I'm not your mother, technically, so I'm never going to ask you to disrespect your parents or to not listen to your parents. But I think parents do have to be mindful of that, of how it can create some really confusing situations for their children on these teams moving forward.
All right, let's see the seminar.
No seminar. It's just because I deal with kids at a younger age is when they really get to be, like she said, looking at it from one player's perspective, which is their own kids. So I do something called player parent education, where I tell them, this is what this means. And so I think it's a little bit more of education in terms of the level that I'm coming from, because they don't know why their kid didn't serve, or they don't know that, the rules of the game where one kid can't go in the game for two different people or something like that. So it's more of an educational basis, but I do tell them that, you're making it really difficult for your kid if they have to listen to conflicting views. And I'm the one that's actually coaching the game who has been through this. And so unless you've kind of been and living this life, then allow me to help your kid grow in that way.
Sure. Yeah, I'm quick to tell somebody, hey, bring your whistle and your game plan. Let me see it, and then I'll give you practice if it's good enough. Because all that extra stuff, it's uncalled for. Mm-hmm. Especially like you said, if you're only seeing it from your perspective, and that's in the stands, but you don't come to practice and see that we spent 20 minutes discussing this one thing, and then we get in the game and they still fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that.
Yeah. One of the best videos I've seen on social media here recently was a coach. I can't remember what his name was, but he called a parent out in practice.
I think it was Coach Frank Martin when he was at South Carolina.
Well, it was that one too. I think I know which clip you're talking about, but this was a Black guy, AAU coach, and he had a young team. And one of the little players had gone in and tried to shoot the ball, and he got blocked. And after, you could hear his dad on the sideline saying, "Shoot it," or pull it, or whatever. And the coach stopped practice and went over to him, and he said, "No, he doesn't need to do that. He's the youngest player out here, smallest player out here. He needs to be trying to, drive and draw attention." And then dish, and was just telling the parent why what he was saying was contradictory to what the coach was saying. And it's been shared a lot and all of that, but it was just one of the best things I've seen. A lot of people were saying the coach was uncalled for and he shouldn't have said that. And I was like, that's part of the problem, because a lot of people that think that kind of coaching is okay, and they don't realize their little kids are confused. They have no idea what to do when you're asking them to choose between their coach and their parent. That's not a fair position to put them in.
Let me ask this question, because y'all are Black female coaches, and you're not ugly, you're attractive. How much do y'all get hit on?
By whom?
Yeah, for real.
I mean, this is 2023.
Coach Amber?
I'm trying to think.
Like just
at games?
I'm just saying, like, hey, let me take you on a date and I'll drop, 15,000 to your program type hitting on. Or what are you doing? Like they just see you and like, you're the coach? Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I've actually dealt with that all that much. Sometimes we go to, you may go to another school and there might be some people starting a conversation, but I don't think not too many people have been that bold to really put it out there. They were trying to make a pass. It was more just being really friendly, I think, on my end. I don't know about Janice.
Nah, they was hitting on you.
That was.
They was hitting on you. When you say mighty. Oh, I mean, some people try to like sneak around it, but it was hit. It was hit. Coach Janice?
Not often. Hardly ever. It's a few dads that they'll see you around and they ask questions and just kind of slowly follow you to whatever court that you're on. And then once it's my team's turn to actually play, then they're like, oh, she coaches them? And it's like, yeah, I'm kind of your kid's coach.
Oh, no dad. Well, so do aunties?
Huh?
Do aunties hit on y'all?
No.
Aunties?
Not me, no.
No, same. I think, the only time I got hit on at a volleyball tournament, it was bad, was a guy who was married. And introduced me, called me across the convention center to introduce me to his wife.
Oh, he was trying to have a pilot.
Huh?
He was trying to have a pilot.
I don't know what he was trying to do, but I was not trying to do it with him. So he had been really friendly. We'd met somewhere else, never mentioned the wife, talked about his daughter playing volleyball, all of that. And then we were at a tournament a couple of weeks later and he calls my name across the gym and went over there. And he's like, hey, I just want to introduce you to my wife, such and such. And my mouth just dropped, floored of why he would seek me out in this convention center full of 1,000 people to introduce me to his wife. So that's about the extent of my getting hit on in the gym. And that's all it's been.
Last one on the hit on question. Do students try you? Because you is that tech. Now let's get that situated. Let's get that straight.
Not here. At my junior college, there were a few. I was younger. I was 25 when I started there and it was community college. So, some of them were about 25 as well. So it was, that happened a little bit then, but I think now I got the, hey coach, the yes ma'am, the no ma'am, that kind of respect now since I've been at Tech.
Gotcha. Coach,
yeah. No, I agree. When I was college coaching at the university, it was definitely, I was much younger as well. And so some of the basketball players had no idea that I was actually the coach. And so they came with, their best game. They just thought we was going to the training room to get training, but like, no, I'm going to check on my player and then we're going to practice. So it happens. They don't know. They just shooting their shot.
Oh, wow. All right. Going to the last romantic question. This one is kind of different, but name 2 things that a man could do to ruin a date with you.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
I just asked for 2.
Look like Janice got something up her sleeve right now.
I just need 2.
I think something has already happened, but I'm waiting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Listen.
Okay, so have y'all never been on a date that y'all saw a female or she did something you were like, I'm never gonna talk to this girl ever again?
Of course.
Okay, there you go.
I'm saying, but when he asked that question, you immediately went back to a date. Like, yeah, that right there.
She had a flashback.
Yeah, definitely had a flashback. We need to get it flash.
You need 2.
I can think of one right off the bat because it was fairly recent. It actually ties into coaching, but we were talking about, our professions and all of that. And I was talking about how I coach and he said, that's it. And then proceeded to say like, so what are you like, what's the plan for the future? As if like what I'm doing now is just for funsies and no big deal. And I was instantly like, check please. Like we don't even need to continue this conversation because you will never understand what I do or the magnitude of what I do.
Yeah,
Same. Someone said, oh, so you work the third shift because of the practice times and the time and I was like, no, like there are no shifts, like
at all.
this is like a real profession. Like, oh, so like you just coach? Yeah. I run a business though. So they were just so like they couldn't fathom and wrap their minds around the fact that coaching was like a real thing. Mm-hmm. Big time.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was a few years ago.
That's crazy.
So do you what on the going on the first date? Who has to pay?
He does.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we have this running joke with Perk, he on the first date, just know you're not going nowhere real nice. He might take you to McDonald's. He might take you to Zaxby's. So that's his thing.
That's whose thing?
The Professor Perkins.
Oh, so you like to go to somewhere like he said, a McDonald's or something. Why? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm curious as to why.
Janice asking the questions now.
Gladly I like answering questions.
Right.
First, if we going on a first date, it shouldn't matter where we going because it's about us. I know women say, okay, where you taking me is how you gonna treat me, but that's not true. Us having a good conversation depends on if we gonna do something after that. Me spending $50 or $100, because here go the problem. The reason that I mostly say that men don't get consistent women. Like y'all probably out of the women we've talked to on podcasts, y'all are probably, if we had 10, y'all probably maybe the fifth one who said that that the man has to pay. A lot of women will say that they want to pay, and most times it's not a consistent of, if you're talking to this one woman, the next woman might not be the same. So you never know what you're going to get when you talk to a woman. And this is just a general thing that we even talk on here about. Most men try to be nice up front, but then it's like you get these women who like, they want you to take them to a place that they can't afford. So then you go to these places and it's like, okay, I done spent all this money. You ain't even never been here before.
I think that to add to that, I think that comes from a lack of research. I think when guys are talking to women, I think you got to know the type of woman that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to kind of sift through and differentiate between the women who you know she can, like, if heaven forbid if something happens and your money over there, she got it, right? But if you only chasing a certain type of woman who is looking for that type of dude, then why are you taking her there anyway? Which is probably why you say you go to either McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever. But I personally think that it depends on what the two people want to do. So like your first date can be at Lupe Tortilla. If that's something that y'all conversed about, like, oh my God, Lupe Tortilla is my junk. Like, oh, this is the best. Like, we should do that. Sure, that could be a first date, and that's not necessarily something that's going to break your wallet or it's going to be a determinant into the future whether or not he can go to Steak 48 or not. That's not going to determine anything. I think it's just a matter of knowing who you're talking to and the expectation of that other person.
Absolutely. Agreed. And I don't think it has to, like Janice said, it has to be this, we got to go to this super fancy, super expensive place. Like I personally, being someone who's not materialistic at all and that kind of stuff, like I said, it's the simple things that matter to me. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to go to a crazy expensive place for a first date out of, I don't want to feel obligated or feel bad about whatsoever if you and I don't work out. And if I'm not interested and there's not going to be a date two, I don't want to be like, oh, he spent all this money, I feel bad or I feel any kind of way. about that. So I wouldn't want I think if there's women that are judging a man off of where he takes them, now, do I want to go to McDonald's? No, or somewhere like that. But if there are people that are judging men off of, oh, he didn't spend hundreds of dollars on me or whatever, then that's like Janice said, that's a certain type of woman. And you should know that about her, or be able to sense that from her from the moment you asked her out.
Season 5 Cal Podcast, man. We got Coach McCray, Coach Pressley here. I got 2 more questions. Perky, TJ, y'all got anything jumping there? So,
Thank you.
I'm definitely thinking come back, but go ahead.
My next question is, what'd you say, Perky?
I couldn't hear what he said.
I said, I'm definitely thinking of a comeback, but go ahead.
Okay, so my next question is the fact that y'all are single and that y'all are coaches. How would your boo, bae, or spouse future, how would they have to fit into y'all schedule? Because once again, it's coaching. You might have practice 5 o'clock in the morning. You might have weight training at 2 o'clock. Then you might have a film session at 8, and you might not get home to 10. And by 10, you're ready to go to sleep. So how would your future bae fit into your lifestyle?
Janice, you want it first?
No, you got it.
I was just gonna say, and I'm laughing because I've talked about this with many people. I have a bad habit of talking to coaches, of dating coaches. I say bad habit because that's 2 coaches talking can be kind of difficult in terms of location and in terms of schedule, because there's not always a lot of extra time. However, it can also be very great and very comfortable because you know that other person understands your schedule. And that's something that I think is really lacking when I have tried to talk to men who were not in the coaching standpoint. They at least have to be a former athlete, and preferably a former athlete at the college level, to really be able to literally grasp like what the time commitment is like, because they don't get it when we talk about the schedule and how you have recruiting and you have practice and you have, I've had one that was like, oh, all you have is like practice, right? And that's it. So he's thinking I'm just unavailable for 2 or 3 hours a day. And I'm like, no, there's paperwork and there's scheduling and there's budget and there's going to meet my kids for coffee and there's academic meetings, and I'm naming all this stuff. And he really just had no clue. So when I said I'm busy, he didn't understand, or they, because it's been multiple, didn't quite understand what busy looks like until I actually got in it. So I think being able to talk to someone when you are dating a coach, they have to understand, and they have to be able to understand that they cannot be your most number one priority. And you can't date anyone that's needy or feels like they have to hear from you. Within, 2 seconds, I had a guy tell me that he thought the average response time I should be responding back to his text was 10 minutes. And I laughed because there is just 10 minutes. And there's just absolutely no way that could ever happen. I can't even respond back to my mama or my sisters in 10 minutes. So let alone somebody I'm dating. So I think they have to understand the schedule. They have to understand the commitment. They have to understand the stress, that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. If I'm dealing with that at work, I can't come home to stress from you. So I think all of those things are very important that coaches understand, or someone who is dating a coach understands.
Yeah, I think it's a general struggle of fitting in, or other people not understanding the lifestyle. I think that's something that I consistently cross as well in terms of dating. They don't understand the lifestyle. Practices from 5 to 7, but that's when the kids get to leave. Like that's when that's finished. But like us as the people who run it, that's not when we get to leave. But to answer the question, I think it's a matter of learning how to fit what works for both people, no matter the other person's schedule. Because the other person, you may fall in love with a lawyer, and those hours that's a 24/7, 365 type of career. So I think it's just a matter of how can you fit into each other's lives versus just how can he fit into my schedule. So because you make time for what you want to make time for. So it's a matter of both people. If we're successful women, we're probably going to date successful men as well. And if you're a successful man, you're probably busy.
Well, let me ask you this, is it like a male ego thing? Because you see plenty, not just black, but plenty male men coaches who the wives are acceptable to the lifestyle. So do you think a man just can't handle that? My wife or my girl is a coach, and it's going to be times, or especially during the season, I might not be able to see her maybe on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and I got to deal with that.
I think partially is some of that, of being able to handle that and being able to know that, you know, I'm going to be on the road. Because like Janice said a second ago, you make time for what you want to make time for. So me, for instance, with my schedule running from August, you know, 8th or so, with training camp starting, to mid-November, if I'm dating somebody and they're like, hey, babe, I want to go to this concert this weekend, or I want to go plan this trip this weekend, they have to understand there are no weekends between August and November. There is literally no weekend that I will ever have that is free. But what I can do is as soon as December hits, hey, let's plan this, let's get our, you know, and I have to recruit in the spring, but that's a lot more flexible. So you just have to have somebody that's going to understand, while she may not be available during this time of year, she's going to be available, or we can really plan all our things in this time. And maybe during August, November, that's when I being the guy, and I am going to make the trips. That's when I'm going to support her at her games. And I'm maybe doing a little bit more to make it work, understanding that she will reciprocate that when she can. And her not being able to reciprocate that doesn't mean she doesn't care, or doesn't mean she's not trying. That just means it is what it is in terms of the profession. And, you know, we have to find ways to work around it.
But see, you can, especially with the recruiting, like you can flip that, you know what I'm saying? He can come on a recruiting trip with you, and while you go do your thing, you know what I'm saying? And after that, y'all can hit the city and explore whatever they have in that particular city that you guys can get into. You know what I'm saying? It's all about sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. And I think with the men, you know, when you talk about a lot of men that have wives that are susceptible to, or that fit it more, a lot of times they're home with the children, you know, if they're married, especially. So they're home with that, and they're kind of just expected to do that and not be a big deal. But a man, you know, if the woman is gone all the time and they're not necessarily home with the kids, or maybe they don't have any kids or whatever, it's a lot more, I don't want to say free time, but like, they recognize the wife's or the girlfriend's absence a lot more. I'll say that.
Okay. And then my last question is, both of you as coaches, the situation that happened at Grambling with Coach Chelsea Lucas, like, how do you feel about that situation? And let me give you my point of view. I blame the AD. I think he was a coward. You hired this young lady, and when the shit got hot, you kind of backed away and left her out there by herself. Now, that's my point of view. Floor is yours.
I think it's I think people can have a lot of opinions about it, but we're not there to really, really know what happened. And so we have our opinions and thoughts and ideas about, you know, all of the things that went down. And I think each coach handles things differently in terms of what they prioritize and how they go about doing that. Some people will choose a different way to handle the things that she was handling. And so, you know, from one Black woman to another Black woman, I may not agree with some of the things that went down, but I still don't want to see her not succeed in the future. And I'll leave it at that.
That was a very good political answer.
We'll get the real answer in the after party.
That was very good political
honest.
That was a great answer, Janice.
That was so political.
I appreciate that.
How's that political? I want to drag her because I don't know.
No.
It was not the question.
No. I didn't say drag. I didn't say how did you feel about it, because like and I'm just telling you from my point of view, it's not her record. It really wasn't the best record, but she got hired to be the head coach. She did what she did. She let those players go. for the record, it's plenty of coaches that let go a lot of players in their program that they felt wasn't a great fit. I had no problem with that. I had a problem with how she was left out to dry.
I would agree.
Because I think as an AD, if you're the athletic director, you went to the president and say, this is who I think should be the head coach. You went through everything. You went through the interview process. And most ADs, they already know who they're going to hire. It's not like they're going through like multiple candidates like that. They pretty sure got it down to the one person I want to bring in to help lift this athletic program. And he ran. So we ain't talking about dragging her. We'll let that Twitter Grambling volleyball account who dragged her since the day she got hired. We'll let them do that. I'm just talking about the whole situation in general. But we'll get your real answer in the after party. Coach McCray.
Well, I'm gonna be real PC just like Janice, because I can't drag anybody being I'm real close to the situation. Being at Tech, I actually live in Grambling. That's where my house is. And we were able to pick up one of her former players on my team this year who came in and did a great job for my program this year. So I will say it was just an unfortunate situation all around for all parties involved. And I think, there was a lot, you hate for situations like that to play out in the media and play out in social media, especially where people can get on and post whatever or tweet whatever. Only really the people in the situations and their families, their parents know exactly what happened and exactly what went on. Whereas you had a lot of other opinions and different things from other people coming in, just getting bits and pieces of the story. So I will say, people, they make their decisions. It was an unfortunate situation of how it played out, and to have Grambling, a school I support, being here right next door, and like I said, living here, being dragged through the news for all the wrong reasons. That was unfortunate to see. And but I do hope, all parties involved were able to move on from it to some better situations, or to be in a better place now than they were when all that was going on about a year ago.
DJ Perk, y'all got anything? Before we get to these Cal Podcast questions.
Baby.
Okay. So, ladies, we got our Cal Podcast questions. It's going to be one or the other, or fill in the blank. Now, one of the questions we did take out because of what you sent us. So, but that question we'll probably ask in the after party to get your real opinion, but it won't be recorded. So, first question, and remember, it's one or the other, or fill in the blank. So, first question. Love or money?
Love. You said love or money? Love for me.
Love.
Ooh. Love.
Sure.
I know some unhappy people with a lot of money.
I'll rather have love because we can always go get money together.
Preach. Yes.
So love.
Financial literacy or health literacy?
Health.
Yeah.
How do you like it? How do you like your men? Skinny, bulk, or big boy season?
I'm gonna say this.
Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Just answer the question. You like to fix stuff.
Skinny. Now this part you can't mess with. This is our questions. Skinny, bulk, or big boy season?
Did you say bulk, first of all?
Like thick?
Yeah. Or muscle bound. That sound better?
I would tend to probably lean skinny, buff-ish, but not like super, super look like you on steroids, that kind of buff.
I agree.
I'm gonna let both of y'all live with that answer.
All right. That ain't even I wasn't even gonna say.
It's too late now. It's out there now. It's too late.
I want the dude who gonna treat me the best. He can be skinny, he can be thick, he can be big boy. Who gonna love on you, girl? That's
okay, so if you were out at an event, which one of those guys would capture?
We killing Perk. I've dated all three, so
which one would capture your attention? Like out of those three, if you saw them all standing next to each other, Like, which one would you be keyed in on first? Like, which one would like jump out at you just by physical appearance?
How tall are these men?
Hey, hey, it's
First of all, let me. Both
That
of them,
changes it.
oh man, hold on. Let me write this down because Coach said a word at what it was, a minute and 5.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna just edit that part out. That's all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We keeping it.
Don't be sorry. Just
So all right, let me get to this question. If you're dating a guy, how many baby mamas is too many?
Ooh,
That's a good question.
I'm gonna say 2.
2 baby mamas is too many, or you're okay with 2?
About 3.
Oh, 3 is too many.
3 is too many.
2 we can deal with. 3 is a
3
lot.
is too many.
3 is too many.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yes. I couldn't talk to a guy that
How many
had 3
kids you got,
3
Perk?
baby mamas.
I don't have biologically. I don't have any kids. Now, for school wise, I have a whole bunch.
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead. If your pH balance is off, do you let them go downtown?
No.
Yes. No, I said no, but I'm laughing. Like, where did that question
He
came?
said no.
Yeah, it's a question because
No.
it been brought up a lot. Like, because at one I didn't know what pH balance was. I'm just learning more about it. And then as you get to know more females, they'll tell you they'll be messing with certain dudes that will throw off their pH balance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we've been asking that question. Now we only had one person say yes, and that person I got to deal with. But everybody else been no.
Yeah, no.
All right. Who's more important in a Black girl life, her mother or her father?
Is either or?
Yeah, that's hard.
Either or.
Different
Either or. You
reasons.
can't pick both. Can't pick both. Can't pick both.
I think it depends, but
Yeah.
We need them either the mother or the father.
Janice is very argumentative. But go ahead.
I am.
Duval, man.
Oh, she's from Duval. That explains all that. But go ahead.
Hey, don't play with us, man.
Yeah, he'll hate him.
I see.
It's all good. I'm from Mississippi. We take care of all y'all.
What team y'all got in Mississippi? Oh, okay, my fault.
None.
The Mississippi
Okay.
mud rat.
Mississippi. That's how you have to say Mississippi. My mom. I'm gonna say my mom. My mom passed away, so my mom.
Mother.
I want my mom back.
Amber.
Yes, that's what made me cry. I would say mom.
Mother.
Just
Okay.
even off of whether thinking for my personal, like in my life, I do think for a lot of Black women and young Black girls, the father or the absence of a father can have more of an impact on how, they turn out or how things go from them. So if you look at it that way, it could be the father could have more of an impact or could be more important, but I'm going to say mom as well.
What is the best advice a Black woman ever gave you?
That people are gonna talk about you no matter what you do. So do what you do.
That's so hard. I'm trying to think of all that. That's a good one. Trying to think of all
Cal Podcast, baby. These questions we be hitting.
of which one?
Nah, the Cal Podcast, that's what we do, man. These questions be hitting.
Yeah, that's so good. I think
friends about us.
I can't even, it would probably be from my mom. But just being who you are, I think regardless, and kind of going into what Janice said of like, my mom would say, they talked about Jesus, you can't please everybody. That's actually probably the best. That would be from my mama. And just that you can't please everybody. And if you try, you're going to end up failing somewhere and stressing yourself out. So you need to just understand sometimes you just got to make the best decision you felt in that moment, but understand you can't please everybody.
All right. Now, the next 2 questions are going to be fill in the blank. All right. First question. Black men should for Black women. Black men should for Black women.
Show up.
Show up. That's a new one.
Show up.
I like that answer.
That's what comes to mind for me instantly.
Show
Stand
up.
up more for, yeah.
Stand up. All right. Black women should for black men, and you can't use the same answer. Black women should for black men.
Continue to hold it down.
Continue to hold it down. That is so gangster.
I like how you say continue to, which
Yeah.
I'm laughing at Ferg. Ferg, you just don't like me, and I'm okay with that.
No, listen, I love everybody.
Mm.
If I didn't like that,
Black-
I'd give you hell.
Black
You didn't like
women
what?
If I didn't like you, I would give you hell.
for black men. Coach McCray, black women should for black men.
Say, allow them to be, just going back to what I said earlier, vulnerable. Like allow them to be able to have that safe space where they don't have to put on that hard front, that hard exterior all the time.
Is that vice versa though? Just another question.
What you mean? Is that vice versa? Like, should
For men to be vulnerable.
sorry, it's like should they, for men to be vulnerable, what should?
So answer the question again. So I make sure I'm saying it right.
Yeah. I think black men, wait, what was it on that one?
Black women should blank. For black men.
Oh yeah. Black women should allow black men to be vulnerable
Okay.
and to be able, meaning like to be able to have that soft spot. Cause we don't, sometimes it's just, oh, you got to be hard and got to be Mr. Tough Guy, Mr. all of that. And we don't, or if they do try to be vulnerable, be sensitive, we call them soft or weak.
If they cry.
Or if they cry, yeah, we look down on that and we don't need to, because everybody needs that release sometime.
All right. Now this question, I need both of y'all. I'm gonna get both of y'all at the same time to think about it. If you can have a conversation with 3 black women, dead or alive, who are they? If you can have a conversation with 3 black women, dead or alive, who are they? And let me know when you're ready. And I need all 3. So if you got one in your head, now I need all 3.
I got all mine. Michelle Obama, first
Obama
and
is back.
foremost. Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou is back.
And then my third one would be a little more sentimental. My grandmother,
Oh, yeah.
on my mom's side, because she passed away when I was 5. And I never got to, I hear stories all the time, but all my oldest memories of her, she was sick the whole time I was alive. So I never got to actually hear her voice or have a conversation with her. And that's one of my deepest regrets, or something that I wish I had.
Of course, I would say my mother again, especially now that she has transitioned. I want to have a conversation with her about so many things now that she's not here.
Gotcha.
So my mom, Michelle Obama for sure, and Oprah.
Oprah's back. I think you're the second person that asked for Oprah. Okay. I'm gonna ask this question because since we're already out there, and if I have to edit out, I will. If you had to choose, t-shirt and panties, lingerie, or nothing at all?
T-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. And if you need me to edit that out, just let me know. And then the last question is a Cal podcast question. We've been asking everybody's questions since season 1. Who has the better pancakes, Whataburger or Cracker Barrel?
Cracker Barrel.
You said that too, Phil.
Yeah,
I've not had either.
Oh,
Cracker Barrel, you could put the fruit on top and the apples and they had the peaches.
TJ, that's a
Almost
good
had that
first date
today.
for.
Huh?
It's a good first date for pancakes at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Oh, Coach Pressley, we need you to try both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we gonna need an answer.
They hidden?
No, they're not hidden.
Yes,
gotta
they
tell
are
us.
hidden.
Cracker Barrel?
They're hidden. Yes.
I almost drove 20 minutes out the way from my gym I was supposed to go recruit at today because I wanted some Cracker Barrel.
Okay. We get it.
Say what you want to say. Say what you talking.
We get it. But Whataburger has pancakes, and they make them on the spot. They're not frozen.
Mm-mm.
That's why they're going to take 2 hours to get them.
And they're real big and fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
So we need you to handle that, Coach Pressley. So
Got it.
All right. So last thing before we get y'all here, I'm gonna show you a picture of this two Black women. Y'all might know them, but I need you to tell me 3 things about them. And let me see if I think I got the photo. So let me do this one first. So I need to know 3 things about this Black woman that we may not know.
She's resilient. She's highly intelligent, and she's spiritual.
Okay. And you already know who's coming next.
Coming up. I thought I was coming up with them for you, Jay. Those are good. I don't want to have to talk about
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, myself. She is, I'm gonna say, caring, and selfless, like will really, family oriented, because I will do anything for them, and that includes friends. And I'm just gonna say a ball of light. Like I really do try to be super optimistic in every situation. So just like to be the person that can try to light up a room.
Okay. And then the last question is, as I started, we asked you what was the state of Black female coaches. My question now is, what do Black female coaches need to do better in 2023?
I'll say one. Oh, sorry, Janice, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One, stop thinking we have to replace each other instead of adding to one another. I think whenever you get into spaces where it's not many of you, you take on this, I have to compete with that other person who looks just like me because there's so few spots we have. We're all competing for this same spot for the Black female coach instead of saying, let's open up more spots for the Black female coach. So I think we got to stop, tearing each other down. Got to stop finding ways to discredit each other, thinking that we have to share the same spaces instead of increasing our presence.
That was my exact answer in terms of a little bit differently said is to once one Black woman gets to one place, reach out and bring another one with you, not leave her out because it'll now be competition. Mm-hmm. Bring her with you.
Well, this is part of the show where we give y'all the platform where y'all can promote yourself, talk about your business. If you want to throw a little recruit thing out there, you can do it. I don't know what the NCAA violation is, so if you can't do it, don't do it, especially not on us because we ain't trying to get banned. But we're going to give y'all the floor to let you promote yourself, and the floor is yours, whoever want to go first.
I have my own volleyball organization. It's called Divine Sports. Ages 5 to 18. We have summer camps coming up. We have club volleyball tryouts coming up. And we are a organization that is looking to enhance the lives of all young people. You don't have to be Black or only white or Indian or Hispanic. We want all kids to come and be a part of what we're doing. So we're uplifting kids. We want kids to be active. We want them to be competitive. We want to teach them how to communicate and how to be better young women that go back and enter society and help the next young person.
Janice, where you in Cypress, right?
I am in Cypress, but I serve the greater Houston area, period.
Where is your camp going to be located this summer?
It's going to be located at Stars Sports Complex. That's in Cypress, Texas.
Stars
Sports Complex.
I'm going to need that info. Can you DM me that info whenever you push it out?
Yes, sir.
Cool beans.
Thank you.
Coach McCray?
My plug is just, obviously I'm always going to rep for Louisiana Tech volleyball. Been here for 4 years trying to build something great. It's been a process. We've been through a lot, just with all the changing landscape of NCAA athletics in the 4 years, but still continuing to build that. We have camps as well in July. We would love if anybody wants to take a trip up to good old Ruston, Louisiana, see the Grambling area, all of that. We have camps starting in mid to late July. And then just in general, I put in a pledge, just get your kids in sports, young females, especially. I can't stress enough all of the amazing life lessons that were taught to me through sport, all of the places I've gotten to travel that there is no way I would have ever gone if it wasn't for volleyball. And then just all the relationships, all of my best friends. I know Janice through volleyball. The people I'm closest to in my life, I'm largely connected to through the sport. So I just strongly encourage, get your kids active. If it's not volleyball, pick another sport, find something they love and enjoy, and just support them through it.
Let me just say that you're the only person we will let promote Louisiana Tech on this podcast, because this is a Grand Fan podcast. We just want to throw that out there. So this is the only time Tech will ever get some shine. This is the only time. Now, once you decide to move up and leave them, F them.
Yeah. I don't feel we're rivals. Like, I wear Grambling stuff all the time. I had a shirt last week.
What school did you graduate? No. What school did you graduate from, Grambling or Tech?
Neither.
Exactly. It's a different feeling because you work for them.
It is. Well,
it's a different feeling. But you're the only person we'll let promote Louisiana Tech on this podcast. So,
heard somewhere.
Yeah, TJ Perk, y'all got anything?
No, just to remind Janice to send me that info about those camps and club information so I can possibly get my daughter in there.
Oh, look at it.
It's put on too. Nice. And I rock gear too. I'm gonna need some gear. I like gear, so I rock gear.
I got you some dad hats going on.
He won for sure.
I got you.
So, but ladies, go ahead.
And we can do some. We'll probably be doing some collabs with both of you all because I'm finalizing the stuff on my business. It's going to be a life and health coaching and mental performance consulting business for coaches and athletes. So, when by this summer time frame, we'll be full up and running for sure. So, we'll definitely be doing some collaboration.
That's awesome, TJ. That's a growing field that is much needed right now. So that's great.
So, ladies, we really do appreciate y'all getting on, helping us with this season. Like, it was really big. We really wanted some Black female coaches. And if there's anything we could do for y'all, just let us know. We will happily boom it out to our people. And we'd like to invite y'all back to the 100th episode, which will probably be in May. But just FYI, it's going to be like rated XXX. So if you don't want to be seen or be known, this is not that podcast show is not to be there because we talking about everything. It's our 100th episode, so we ain't leaving nothing off the table. But y'all all welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's TJ, that's Perk, Quita. I don't know what she got going on, but like I always say, we're gonna get better and do better. And y'all have a good night. Don't hang up because we still gotta go to the after party.
G14 classified. That's good.
Headline, Starlight.
Long live DJ Star.